Good afternoon, or whatever time of day it is. Welcome to a new thing we're trying out here. We'll see how this goes. Jacob is here. He's joined me here on the Royals Rundown. We're going to do a quick series preview. Somebody in the comments was asking us, "Hey, could you do a pregame show?" And while I would love to, and I think Jacob would also love to, we
Yes,
just don't.
yes.
We don't have that kind of time. So
No.
we thought we'd bring in a series preview. Real quick, Jacob. I guess let's do just like 30-second series recap. They swept the Rays, right?
Yeah.
Swept the Rays. Great series.
It was a great series, great stuff from the pitchers. The lineup looked even deeper at points. I think this was just a great get right series against like a kind of a opponent on the same level as the Royals, I would say.
Yeah,
So I think fan optimism and confidence, I think it should be really high right now.
absolutely. And Noah Cameron, what a
Yeah.
debut. We'll talk more about that, I think, in our regular podcast on
Yep.
Sunday. But we want to go ahead and talk about this Orioles series coming up this weekend.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
let's go over those pitching matchups real quick.
Yes,
We've got
please.
we've got tomorrow night, as we're recording this on a Thursday, we've got Michael Waka versus Dean Kremer. Um, and then Saturday evening, we have Chris Bubich versus Tomoyuki Sagano. And
Ooh.
then Sunday, we have Michael Lorenzen versus Kyle Gibson.
Woo.
So first, let's talk Waka Kremer. Kremer
Yeah.
has not been good this year.
No.
He has a 7.04 ERA. He's not striking anybody out. He's giving up all kinds of home runs. He did face the Royals in one of his better starts, his second start of the year. He pitched 4 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, 1 strikeout, no homers, no walks. Of course, that was when everything was ice cold at Kauffman Stadium, but it's probably not going to be super warm in Baltimore at this time of year, I don't guess, huh, Jacob?
Yeah, yeah, probably not. It's looking like it's going to be a humid game at least. I don't know if it's going to be hot, but it feels like walking through pea soup out here just south of Camden Yards. So it's going to be like that. I imagine on a Friday night. Overall, Kremer, he does have a decent line of success against the Royals. Friday's going to be his fifth start in his career against the Royals. He's 1-2 with a 3.98 ERA against Kansas City in his career. Not shut down, but I mean certainly he finds more success against the AL Central club than he does against the average MLB team.
Yeah, that's true. Of course, the Royals this year's offense. One of the things that always gets me, and it's something I've done throughout my career as a writer, also is like, how much does it matter how well they've pitched against a team like 3, 4,
Fair.
5 years ago? Completely different team, right?
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yep.
Uh, so Michael Waka going for the Royals. He also pitched against the Orioles. I believe it was that the same game.
I think
No,
it
he
was.
pitched the
Yeah.
day after Kremer.
Oh,
Five
okay.
and two thirds, 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, only 1 walk, no homers. But the everybody who got on base scored basically in that game.
Oh, that's right. That was a forgettable one.
Yeah, it was easily Waka's worst start of the season. He's been looking better and better as we go on. He had the 6 shutout innings against the Astros, so
Yeah.
look for him to try and keep that the good times rolling.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so. And I would expect the Royals to start this off with a series opening victory. Just I get it. Most teams tend to perform better in their home stadium. That's not the case for the Orioles so far this year, unfortunately. And I want to say I think they took the series against the New York Yankees, which is good. That's a good series victory for them, but they just got absolutely shellacked in that middle game. 15-3 on your home turf is absolutely horrendous. And yeah, just that pitching staff is not helping out this young talent at all in Baltimore. And I think that Friday is going to be a little bit of a testy game because there's going to be some fan frustration and the beer flowing.
Yeah, we've got a couple Marylander. You're Virginian. We got a Marylander in the Royals review Slack, and
Yeah,
sounds like things are not happy right now up there.
they're not. They really aren't.
So Saturday's matchup has probably the this best matchup of the series. I would say Chris
Yeah,
Bubich versus Sagano. Sagano has been one of the better starters for the Orioles. However, he's got that gorgeous, well, not gorgeous, but pretty good, pretty solid 3.00 ERA, the 35-year-old rookie.
yep.
Uh, but a 4.61 Sierra, and his FIP I think is even higher than that. I've
Oh my
lost it.
goodness.
It's gone somewhere. 5.14 FIP.
Wow. What's fueling
So
that, Jeremy?
4.68 expected ERA. He's been getting away with he's basically he doesn't strike anybody out, but he doesn't walk anybody. He does give up home runs.
There you
So
go.
the Royals, if the Royals are going to start hitting home runs, this might be the weekend to start doing it. You said it's may not be hot, but it's at least humid. This is a thing I learned a year ago, last year, is that water is lighter than the normal air molecules. So the more humid it
Really?
is, the further the ball will travel. Yeah, isn't that
Huh.
wild? I would have
That
assumed it was
is.
the other way around, but that's why clouds float. Is because water vapor is
Oh,
lighter than the normal air. So yeah.
that makes sense.
So if
It
it's
makes
humid,
sense.
it might be good atmosphere for hitting home runs. They brought that left field fence back in
Yes,
after
they
last
did.
year. So we'll see if the boys in blue can get on the board there. Any thoughts about Sagano and Bubich? I've said so much about Bubich already. I don't feel like I need to say more.
Yeah, if you want to know more of our thoughts on Chris Bubich, go check out some of our full length episodes. I think Sagano's going to be a little bit tricky. I think would be the way to describe it. I mean, if you're thinking of a wily veteran in 2025, Sagano is kind of that. Um, I mean, the Royals are just really going to have to pounce on the opportunities that he gives them. And I think if you would have asked me 3 games ago, do you trust the Royals to do that? I would say no. But I mean, we saw Vinny Homer. We saw some really hard hit balls from Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, still Freddie Fermin. Just a lot of guys in the lineup had a solid showing against a good Tampa Bay Rays pitching group. And I mean, they were extra base hits and home runs, and not just like pounding the ball into the ground, sort of good hard hit balls. So
Yeah,
I think that they'll be okay against Sagano. That should be a low scoring affair on Saturday.
for sure. And he did pitch against the Royals already this year. Also, he was the one who faced Waka. And he
Oh,
pitched
okay.
5 1/3, struck out 4, 1 walk, 1 home run, 1 run allowed. So it was a solo shot was the only damage the Royals were able to do against him.
Gotcha.
It was just that's how it goes sometimes. He is,
Yeah.
like you said, he's crafty, so that always gives me a little bit of concern with the Royals. We'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
So that sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you because he has a really lengthy career under his belt. He didn't make it to 35 years old and then finally making it to Major League Baseball by being a bad pitcher.
Yeah.
And I get it. All the expected metrics aren't great for what he can control. I just think because he's not going to be the guy to get strikeouts. He is going to make his infield and outfield work. And hopefully the Royal speedsters can leg out some of those infield singles and really make them pay for it.
Absolutely. So that'll bring us to Sunday's matchup. Now, this one is here. I got a fun stat for you, Jacob. Kyle
All
Gibson
right.
will be making his second start of the season. He replaced Charlie Morton in the rotation because Charlie Morton was so bad. Charlie
Okay.
Morton on the season has a negative zero point 0.3 FWAR. Kyle
Oh my
Gibson,
gosh.
after one start, has a negative zero point 0.4 FWAR.
Oof. Well, that's what happens when you give up 5 home runs, the most in franchise history for one start from a Baltimore Oriole pitcher.
In
He's
in
looking really
3.2
bad.
innings,
Uh,
he has a
well,
22.09 ERA, a 5.23 Sierra, and a 21.35 FIP.
oh my goodness.
Uh, so, boy, the Royals should have a lot of fun with Kyle Gibson. He's been a very good pitcher in his career, but he is 37 years old and he got a
Yep.
late start on the season. He signed with the Orioles late. It was the Yankees kind of doing Yankee things, but you know, still.
Yeah, it's not great. For all the talk about, oh well, how many of those Yankee home runs would be home runs in other parks? I mean, going on the road and doing what they did to Kyle Gibson was absolutely the MLB equivalent of abusive. Um, he just hasn't looked sharp going up against Michael Lorenzen. I think that should be it'll be a rebound start for Gibson, but I would hope the Royals can pounce on him. But we'll have to end up seeing. I'm a little more worried about, like, hey, can the Royals bullpen hold some of these Baltimore Orioles batters in check? Gunnar Henderson he's been kind of a little bit on a heater. Cedric Mullins has been one of the most underrated players in the American League so far this year. Ryan Mountcastle has been ice cold right now, but if he's gonna get back right, he should do it against the Royals. So there's a lot to look forward to in this series.
Hey Jacob, can you turn on your echo cancellation?
Say again?
Can you turn on your echo cancellation?
Oh no, yeah. Is
Okay,
it
it
bad?
seems like it came on. You're not echoing anymore.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so you mentioned stopping these hitters and how the pitchers have been letting the talent down. I
Yeah.
was curious because I was looking at the pitching numbers. I'm like, these aren't that bad. So I went and looked at their lineup, and woo, their lineup's not doing a whole heck of a lot. Now, Cedric Mullins has been terrific to start the year, a 16.8% walk rate. And
Wow.
he's shown some power. He's got 6 home runs. He's having a rejuvenated year, for sure. But their second best hitter is Ryan O'Hearn by value. Now, there's nothing against Ryan O'Hearn, but the Orioles, ever since they acquired him, have been very careful about how they use him. So his playing time is very limited. He will
Yep.
not play Saturday against Bubich for sure, and he may not
No.
play against one of the other two pitchers. So that's difficult. And then you've got Ramon Urias, who they've been struggling to find a place to play him.
Yeah.
And he's been hitting well. And then Adley Rutschman is the last above average hitter with a 107 WRC plus, and
Mm.
and a lot of that is also walks. There's a lot of walking happening on those top four guys. The lowest walk percentage there is a 9.8% from Urias. So
Wow.
uh,
Goodness.
yeah, Jordan Westberg, who's been a big part of the Orioles, has an 88 WRC plus. Jackson Holiday, the big prospect, has a 101, which is good, but
Okay.
he's had some limited plate appearances. And Gunnar Henderson missed some time, still not back to his old form. He's at a 91 WRC plus. Uh, and then they've got a bunch of guys who just aren't doing a heck of a lot for them.
No.
Um, it, and that's a lot of Mullins and O'Hearn are both lefties. Rutschman is a
Yep.
switch hitter who I believe is better from the left side. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
If I recall, he is. So that's a good matchup to look at. And if for all the gripes that we've had about Matt Quatrero and some of his tactics over the past couple of years, he's been more than upfront about his love for getting those matchups that the
Mhm.
Royals will exploit. So this is the time to do it. If they find that matchup, they need to exploit it and neutralize those few above average Baltimore Orioles hitters.
Yeah, just pulled it up. It is, I mean, it's all small sample sizes still this early in the
Yeah.
season, but a 143 WRC plus against righties, 44 against lefties
Wow.
for Adley
Okay.
Rutschman. And the Royals will be sending out lefty Chris Bubich, and they will be sending out a couple of righties who happen to be changeup specialists. And changeups are usually pretty good against opposite-handed hitters. So this could be a
Yeah,
very
they
good
are.
matchup for the Royals this weekend. So let's go ahead. We're getting close to the amount of time we allotted for ourselves to do this. Let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Jacob, You predicted they'd win the first game. Give me a prediction for the series.
I'm predicting 2 wins and 1 loss. I do think that a fluky loss against Kyle Gibson is not out of the question. And I don't know. I'm not going to say that I expect them to lose against Sagano. I expect that start, or excuse me, I expect the Royals to struggle a bit against Sagano in that Saturday matchup. So I think that there's enough room for a loss in there. However, I would be very surprised and pretty disappointed actually if the Royals did not leave Baltimore with a series win. What say you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I've got 2 wins and 1 loss also. I'm not sure where the loss comes from.
Yeah,
It's really hard to pick them to sweep on the road, especially after they just swept the Rays. I can't predict them to have a perfect road trip. That's insane. So
it is.
I'm gonna pick them for 2 out of 3. A 5-1 road trip is good enough for me, Jacob.
It should be for all Royals fans out there. If I recall correctly, heading into this road trip, the Royals were either 3-10 or 2-10 on the road. Like they were atrocious so far this year on the road, and they're starting to right that ship. So that's all I could ask for. And we talked a lot this offseason about the AL East. And if you would have told me that the Royals would go on the road and have a 5-1 road trip against two AL East clubs, I'd be more than happy with that.
Yeah.
And it is worth saying the best of the Royals bullpen didn't pitch today in that series finale against the Rays, so
I don't
hopefully
think
they'll
they
be
were
fresh.
available, so I'm real glad they had
No,
that big lead.
yes, I am as well. So happy to see that they will be available hopefully on Friday and Saturday. But it is worth noting Baltimore does have the rest advantage going into going into Friday's game because they did not have a game on Thursday.
Yep. So those are the predictions. That's what we're looking at. Let us know in the comments what you think the Royals will do on this 3-game series. And I guess until next time, go Royals.
Yeah.